to a very high. And what I've
I'll just
realised
press record again.
okay, what I've realised with the acoustic piano is that they are very resonant when you put the pedal down. The whole instrument resonates. The keys.
Oh yes, of course. Yes.
The harp. Like when I showed you and you singing it gets your voice and makes it echo.
You mean when I hope that video is somewhere where I've got you're plucking something, and of course I've got the.
That's it. That's when the hammers weren't in there. Now, of course.
Oh, of course.
It's
but when the hammers are not in there, you've got to lift up.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Because without the backs of the keys, what can I say? With the hammers off, the keys are down. So some of the dampers were off, and some of them weren't.
Oh right.
You couldn't disturb because each hammer is a different weight. Like down there, we're reckoning that hammers are about 50 to 60 grams. So you have to weight the keys in such a way that it compensates, because you have inertia. So when you're playing something really loudly, like if you play a loud note in the bass, that would not damp so quickly as that on acoustic.
But see, if I've got the dampers off, surely the whole piano is.
You should hear that resonance everywhere, but it can't do it. It hasn't got enough memory. You should be able. Let me show you. This is a test. This is an ultimate test. Without, I can do this on the Bechstein. I could do this on the V piano. Something's there.
Oh, because you've done that?
Yes. But on the V piano, that's much more pronounced. You can set the cross resonance, which is where the bass strings go over the treble, and then you have the sympathetic resonance of each one.
Oh my god, well how come that makes all sense?
Well, because this string and then somewhere between the two,
yeah, I remember you said.
you have what's known as a harmonic series. Harmonics technically are exact doubles or exact halves of a frequency, whereas partials.
Say that again.
A harmonic.
A harmonic.
We think harmonics is this note, this note, this note, which becomes a partial, so it's not an exact harmonic.
Yes.
That is. So C, C, and C. You can't hear them here so readily, but when you play low notes, that, you can hear that one. That's so you've got one fundamental or fundimold, this first harmonic, second harmonic, first partial, third harmonic, second partial, third partial.
So
fourth parts. They have got quite a lot of partials.
So the lower the note,
the more you can hear. Yeah.
So if I'm playing something up here,
they'd be inaudible. You wouldn't hear them.
Oh, so it's the same, but oh god, that's.
It's out of the human ear. It's not to say that it doesn't make a sound, but we can't.
But the dogs and the cats and everything else are going, oh, so they're sort of like this. But then someone goes like that and go, ooh.
Well, if you think about it, how jazz evolved, it's a very complex process, but they use a lot of beautiful chords. I mean, I just only learned one. What was it I did? Beautiful chord. It's a G7. Then it goes. They're never ever ordinary sevenths like. They never use that in jazz. It's always.
That makes sense to me.
Because you've got a series of tritones.
Yeah, that's perfect sense.
It's lovely, absolutely lovely. But they go. What's another one I did? What is it? Goes to A. Isn't that strange? Because of the way it works. Because it becomes a note where you've got one octave. It just works. That's another one where you can do this kind of chord. You've got an A over the G, which is only one tone higher. But when you do, it's a jazz chord.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me as well.
And each of these, and it comes from the harmonic series, where it's the string basically is its full length there. Now it's subdividing into two, which provides that next note. Then it's subdividing into quarters, which produces this note. Then it subdivides into thirds, which produces this one. Into eighths, which produces this one. Into sixths, which produces that one. Then I think it becomes difficult to calculate, but then you've got the natural seventh, which is not B flat, and it's not A, it's in between the two, which is one of the reasons why a hammer strikes the seventh of the string length, because it damps what would be an objectionable flat seventh.
Right, so a hammer, if the string is from there to here,
yeah,
and so you're going, it's going to be that seventh here or this seventh here, as in seventh of the space.
It's the seventh of the length of the string. Is say you might hear it if it's hang on. Let's try something like this.
I can hear stuff going on there. But I thought you meant the hammer actually hits the string at 1/7 of the length.
It's seventh of the length in, yes. Yes.
Oh my.
A seventh of its length.
So
if it didn't, you get a lot of very objectionable notes that are going, oh, and this is part of the trouble with Steinway. When you hit that A, you get that god-awful...
I do not like Steinway piano sounds.
Exactly. And that's because they've got this really gritty... and I call it a very objectionable overtone, which I don't like. You know, an A is an A. You should just hear that.
And what do you think about the 432 hertz argument, which is a spiritual button number rather than 440? Because 432 was what they just said no to in 1953 at the conference in America.
It's in between those two. I don't know why they would say no to it.
The spiritualist argument is people would become enlightened and their pineal gland would be more of the world's pineal glands would be awakened.
Yeah. They don't want that then, do they?
And Peter Gabriel, I've got to do a little test to see whether any of his stuff is in 432 because
oh, sorry, I'm with you. Excuse me.
Last Temptation of Christ, the starting of the feeling begins. Sound wrong when you play the wrong notes on something.
They sound wonderful, don't they?
Now, can you imagine that in 432? Now, when I try and play that, I can't play it on the CD with the piano because it has been detuned on the CD.
Yeah. To the correct frequency.
I think the correct frequency. So has Red Rain.
Now the V piano you can tune.
You can do this one as well. Oh, I think I'm going to have to... Oh, shit.
I don't know whether you can detune it per se. You can detune it into different temperaments.
But whether you can get it to go down in pitch that much, I don't know.
I think there's
If you can, then
there's-
you could explore it.
now there's one more thing that I want. I don't know whether you're familiar with Peter Gabriel's fourth album that Shock the Monkey was from.
I'm
Shock
not.
the Monkey. He has a track called The Family in the Fishing Net, and on the album it's in the key of E.
Yeah.
On the live version in 1982 it was in now these chords. Into sort of like the bridge. Dylan Thomas, the poet. It's all about Dylan Thomas. Memories crash on tireless waves. The lifeguards who were winter sails.
Very anti-harmony rule.
Now I'll go to the end where it goes. So it goes G major, G major.
Suspension, yeah.
Is that suspension? So what, you're waiting for something next?
That's the idea of it. He holds you there. You're expecting a consequent chord, which there isn't.
Which is what I do in every single track that I play live in front of somebody else.
Yeah. Ludovico Einaudi.
I'll see my Marianne walking what was that called? back through it to realise where I was at in order to get that chord in my head, and then I'd just walk away.
Mm-hmm.
And at King's Cross Station, I'll be, well, come on, what's the next bit? And you walk away, and they're just waiting, darlings. Yes.
I suppose it's how they hold. It's a